And good evening. It's August 16th. Our favorite night of the week is Sunday. And the reason why? Well, of course, it's the Ken and Glenn show with a guy named Scott. And we have the United States covered from here in Vegas to Ohio to Louisiana. Welcome to stars of our show, Ken and Glenn. And yeah, me, the guy named Scott.
That's just, every time you do that, I crack up.
I can't tell if it started in shame and now it's become a noteworthy title. I want everyone to know that Scott was offered top billing about a month ago. We offered it to be the Ken, Glenn, and Scott show. And he said, not we, he said, no, I like my special billing as a guy named Scott.
Yeah, you know, you got me hooked on this. I've been meaning to tell you, Glenn, because now I cannot watch the opening credits without waiting to see who is and who is with.
Oh, with a with and an and.
Yeah, because I never knew that until you told me about that. And I'm constantly watching to see, who gets billing and who gets billing with.
And it turns out that a with and an and are the most prestigious people in the cast. That's
wow. So I'm just like a nobody.
We're here to support Scott's show. Is what it amounts to.
Oh, no, hardly. Yeah. Right. But it is interesting. Tammy and I have gotten into watching Yellowstone. Have you seen any of that?
I am very familiar with Yellowstone. That's Costner's show out of Salt Lake City.
Yeah. We had never watched that, and I've got buddies that were just saying they just couldn't believe that we hadn't watched. So we have been binging it, and it's Dallas in Montana at a ranch, basically, but gosh, it's so well done. It's beautiful shot, beautifully shot. And
what network is that?
Believe it or not, it's on the Paramount Network.
The Paramount Network.
And they kind of use that as the tent pole to launch the network, because mostly what they're doing is showing old Paramount movies. They only have 2 original series, but I just saw that they're season 3, and we're right now binging through season 2. But the season 3 premiere is the highest rated show, not cable show, highest rated, non-live show in the last 4 years.
Wow.
But they did a simulcast on the CW, all the networks that they own. They simulcast it on, CMT and all that. But man,
I need to do that show since I did both Dallas series. I did the reboot for 2 years as the Ewing family attorney. Yeah. And then if you don't feel old, all you have to do is look and remember that this is your second time around because you did the original Dallas, which I did when I was 19. Hey, let's take a little journey, shall we, with this little cam, and let's turn it into a handheld deal. And I'm going to play Guess the Substance. Guess the Substance. So here comes an iced tea. And if you look next to the straw, there appears to be some white powder. Do you see that?
Oh,
you Hollywood types.
So this should be a setup for, ooh, that's just wrong. But actually, if you get your iced tea handed to you this way, but I thought, you know what, this will be great. I can zoom in on it, but we're going to play, ooh, that's just right. And I'll put my camera there. And now let's see if the audience can guess what that is and why is it just right.
Can I guess?
No. I'm sorry. I had to think about it for a minute, Ken.
Karen says baking soda.
No, but a really good guess.
Oh, whoa.
Powdered sugar is the answer. Correct. Correct, Kellen. And why is it special?
I
Can we get a
know.
why is it special? Ken, you cannot play.
I know.
I don't
You
know.
know the answer. All right. Any guesses? Have any
Yeah,
guesses
well,
come
give
in?
them a minute. Give them. They have to type and all that. Everybody's saying powdered sugar now.
Yes, and I've already said yes, it's powdered sugar, but why is it special?
Wanda.
Well, but remember, there's a delay. There's a delay. Karen says sweet tea.
Well, it certainly is now. Yes. It's very sweet tea. No, I'm going to explain. The
Wanda
reason it's
says
special-
because you're special.
Well, that's really sweet, Wanda. And although true, the reason it's special,
By a vote of
I did-
1 to 2,
I just
decided it's true.
I learned the double clap from Ken, by the way. Anytime Ken really enjoys something, he goes, it's funny. No,
And then all the lights in his house go off, but that's another story.
Yeah, wow.
It's special because
Mark, what's the
it's special because about
Oh.
90 minutes ago, a little over, about an hour 45 ago, that powder was all over my face because I was enjoying Cafe Du Monde in New Orleans.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
So that is really special. And I'm now going to be finishing it up live by sticking my tongue
Oh. Oh.
on it because
Man.
that's just right, is what that is.
That's as good as it gets.
I'm telling you, man, it's tough to have any problems when your butt is seated at Cafe Du Monde with 3 beignets, and better still, I'm
Oh,
traveling alone, which means I have no one who's going to try to wrestle a beignet out of my hands. I don't have to. I don't have to say this phrase. Sure, help yourself. I don't mind if you take one of my beignets, which is one of the biggest lies ever told.
Absolutely.
When someone ever says, please help yourself to one of my beignets, let me translate. That translation is, you cheap so-and-so, get your own.
they're donuts, man. They're not that expensive.
They're not just donuts. They're Cafe Du Monde donuts. And
I've been
how
there.
often do you get to eat them while looking at Jackson Square and listening to a 4-person jazz band that includes a tuba? I personally cannot get too much tuba in my life. Is there anyone have you ever heard anyone saying, they're looking a little down, you go, what's wrong? And they go, I'm suffering from excessive tuba.
Well,
I've never heard it.
when I was there and I heard that going on, I yelled out, "You need more cowbell!"
Of course you did, Ken, and that's why no one wants to travel with you.
Wow, I've had enough of this. Goodbye. Hey, it's
Scott,
the Ken
we're
Show.
both banned.
It's the Ken Show.
We're both banned.
Oh man.
Wow.
So we had a
Well,
special
that's
guest
like
last
this.
week. We had our guest, John Schneider. I am in John's home for the last Sunday. This little heads up, gentlemen, and this really is a tribute to Ken, but as of next week, so tonight will be the last natural backdrop of my life, because right as I was leaving Dallas, my fresh green screen came in. And sometime this week, Ken will make me a student, much like Scott is, and I will learn about these fancy backdrops. So I may be in Paris next week. I don't know, but I will match up with the boys. The boys have been a step or two ahead of me this whole time. And we were pleased that John dropped by last weekend, and he is about 50 feet away from me right now, but he's watching a movie that I saw with him the other night. He's screening a new upcoming film, kind of a Smokey and the Bandit type film, where he's playing the Burt Reynolds role. And it's really, really, really good.
Oh,
Really good. We had a
wow.
great time watching. So I want to give John a plug for anyone anywhere near the state of Colorado this coming Friday night on the 21st. Is that right? You've got the calendar in front of you, Scott. Friday the 21st. Is that right?
Let's see.
Or
Yes.
20th.
No, Friday be the 21st.
Okay. So on the 21st, in Parker, Colorado. John is doing a 6 p.m. and an 8 p.m. concert. They originally had one scheduled, but because of COVID and the need to have social distancing, they spaced it out and can accommodate the same number of people by holding 2 concerts. So we just want to plug John because he was sweet enough to come to our show last year.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That was fantastic. So, Glenn, are you done shooting the movie now? Is it?
No, I've got 3 more days here, and I will wrap on Wednesday and be. They said it's going to be an early wrap, so if we get out by 5 p.m., I'm going to go ahead and jump in my car and drive all the way back to Dallas because that would put me into Dallas about 1 o'clock in the morning, and that's cool.
How often are they able to adhere to the schedule? I mean, do you have to pad it a few days on the back end if you're going to another shoot, or
yeah? Well, you have what's called a hard out if you have a next project. Like John had a hard out. His hard out was Tuesday, so he has to be gone by Tuesday because he's leaving Wednesday morning for his concert in Oklahoma, which is a private concert. So I didn't plug that one, but then Friday he'll be in Colorado. Now, because we're shooting on his property, if they needed John for any shot that had been missed, like we got rained on really hard this week, if we had fallen behind, then he could pick it up when he gets back. But usually there's kind of a buffer, a little bit of a cushion on the backside of all shoots that in case they didn't get it. And that's why if your contract specifies a hard out, then it needs to be that. So, but we've made our days. Every day we got every shot. In fact, I think we're 2 shots ahead.
Wow.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Roxy has a question for you, Glenn.
Yes, I am, Roxy. I'll be teaching. I'm not filming tomorrow or Tuesday. I'm only filming Wednesday. So I will be back in class tomorrow. Let's figure out what we're talking about. Weren't we talking about the lack of preparation, and that we decided 1 minute before we went on that would be a great topic since we had no idea what we were going to talk about?
I can't wait until we do. Ooh, that's just wrong. Don't we do that at 8:13?
Well, typically we do it at 8:18, don't we? Isn't it right about now, or what time is it? Oh, it's 8:13. That's right. It's 8:13 that we usually do it. It's usually one of the first things we do every week.
Absolutely. How did that slip by me? Because it's the time that every week we say at 13 after. Ooh, that's just wrong. It sounds like you were chomping at the bit.
Yeah, Ken's got one.
I do have one. I have there's this thing on Facebook and Instagram primarily, but I'm finding out that it's dating sites, it's freaking Twitter, it's LinkedIn. These people from all over the world are creating fake profiles using my pictures and my daughter's pictures, and it's really just it's been going on for about 4 years now. And it's the frequency is picking up. It's 3, 4, 5 a day. Every day I'm getting people that are sending me notices saying, hey, you have a fake profile. He's trying to con me out of money, blah, blah, blah. These women that are hitting me up, telling me this stuff. So today a woman tells me about it, and I go to, and it was like Ken.Walls01 on Instagram. So I type in Ken.Walls in the search, and you know how when you search it starts to auto populate. I put in Ken,
auto populate.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it starts populating. I go through and I found like 15 fake accounts on Instagram with my pictures like that. And I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. This is just wrong. Like, where is their facial recognition software that they're always boasting about? They're always boasting about, oh, we have the best facial recognition. It happens. There's one profile. I still don't know if they've taken it down on Facebook, but they said it does not go against our community standards. I'm like, what? It's my pictures. It's me, you idiots. So, ooh, that's just wrong.
Mm. Mm. That's just wrong. I don't know if that's an ooh, that's just wrong, or an that's just wrong.
It's really messed up. It's my daughters, my little girls are on these things too, man. It really it's but you know, and people are like, well, put your profile to friends only. It's too late. They've got all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you know, and yeah, Leanne just said I saw Grant Cardone's face on a Tinder profile in Australia. I'm getting these reports too from Tinder and all these different dating sites. It's like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It is crazy.
Scott, what's yours?
You know, I was just thinking how hard it was to get a date. If somebody's using a fake picture and getting a date,
oh my God,
as being just wrong. When I couldn't get the date, if somebody's getting a date using my pic, oh, that's wrong. That wasn't going to be my. That's just what I was thinking. It's like, holy cow, that'd be the ultimate irony. I was late jumping on, and Tammy and I got stuck in a traffic thing, and I don't know why this bugs me so much, but it does, and it was a reminder. On a weekend where they don't take the cones down in a construction zone, and you go for miles, and there's nothing happening in that lane that is blocked off,
and won't be until Monday.
And you know what the traffic is like, Glenn, in Vegas on a Sunday when everybody from California is making the drive on the 15
south, yeah,
to go crazy. Well, it was so backed up, people are cutting through the median, and then there was an accident and everything else, and it's just like, and the reason is because there's one lane when there's going to be such incredible amounts of traffic. I don't get why. I get why they for safety and everything. By the way, in my hometown of Crothersville, Indiana, there was a horrible accident on the interstate where a semi driver just blew through a thing and struck the city police car in the rear end. They had to cut the officer out of the car. He's in serious stable condition. But, I understand why for safety they want to keep lanes blocked off. But for goodness sakes, on a weekend when they know nobody's going to be working there, if that lane is nothing is being done there, why don't they open it up to make traffic flow better? It's just wrong. Again, they don't think of the customer. They don't think it's just, we'd have to take cones down and put them back up. Well, they don't want to do that. They don't think of the customer. That's just wrong. Yeah.
The government thinking of us as customers, that would be a plot twist, huh? Like, what? You mean you guys actually pay us? That's weird.
I have an ooh, that's just right. I have an ooh,
can't change the rules.
I can't?
No, you have to have
I'm trying to show you what you look like in a mirror, Ken. Peter Positivity. Ulysses Upbeat.
I love that.
How about Ulysses Upbeat? How about Frankie Feelgood?
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I want to share it because it was a profound thing this week. Now, I am living about 20 feet from the nearest alligator right now. Okay. Just for the record, that has nothing to do with my share. That was just a random report that I've never had a residence, and for 13 days, I've lived right next to alligators, and they do come out, and periodically some of John's roosters and chickens are missing. But don't worry, it's safe to walk around at night. Not overly comforting, and I'll go ahead and say that's my ooh, that's just wrong. Is feel free to stroll at night, despite the fact that chickens disappear all the time. No, mine is so right, because our weapons specialist, and we're using a lot of weapons on this movie, her name is Caroline, and we've gotten to be buds, and she's a lovely 30-year-old woman, and she was sharing a story with me. A group of us were sitting around at this pool on our off evening, which was Thursday night because nobody has to work on Friday. So we're enjoying our time by the pool, and somehow the discussion of close calls, near death experiences comes up. And a surprisingly large number, based on the people that were there, of people had had such an experience. And the common thread with all of them is how life-altering it had been in a favorable way, that there were distinct advantages to the aftermath of such a close call. Well, this one, you know, I think one of the reasons I'm not sharing an Ooh, That's Just Wrong really is because last week, apparently I went over the edge, and I apologize. My Ooh, That's Just Wrong was so wrong that it shut the other three of you up. And it was not intended to be a competition, and it's one of the emptiest victories I've ever had in my life. So I decided to go the other way this week. So check this out. So this woman decides that she's going to address her fear of heights by skydiving.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Now I call that extreme measures. Like, okay, I'm afraid of heights, therefore I'll skydive. I mean, that's really skipping all, you know, steps toward conquering the fear. Just go right to the most extreme thing that you would never do and do it. And she made up her mind that she's doing this about a week in advance and made all the plans. And as she is headed to the airfield, she starts getting a weird feeling in her tummy. And she told me the whole story. I'm going to compress it a little bit, but it's beautiful. And I want to have her on the show. So I'm going to give you a warm up, and whether or not you guys want to interview her privately, or if you would like her as a guest on our show, I extended the invite because it was so very interesting. And I want her to talk about what it has done to her life. So what she did is she started getting these strange feelings, and they got stronger and stronger as she neared the airfield. And then she went through the training that they do, getting you ready. And of course, it's your first time, so it's going to be a tandem jump. And she meets the instructor. And now let's cut to they're in the plane, and it's getting worse. Her tummy is feeling like something's very, very wrong. I don't really want to do this, but I've got to conquer this fear. And it doesn't go away. And she says she's at the edge, and everything in her gut is saying, don't do this. And they go. And they jump out, and it is the greatest feeling ever. And she is conquering her fears, and she is free falling toward the earth like a bird, but no sense of falling. It's just flight, and she is in ecstasy. And now it feels like they've been free falling long enough, and it's time for the parachute to come out. Approximately, she doesn't know exact, but they told her, you know, where they pulled the cord and all of this. And I've never been skydiving, but she's giving me insight. And apparently they jump from somewhere between 10 and 14,000 feet, 10,000 and 14,000. So it's now time for the chute, and now it hasn't been deployed, and now it still hasn't been deployed, and it still hasn't been deployed. And the earth is coming up fast. And she's now getting scared because the drop zone where the target area, they are well off of it. They're not anywhere near where the other jumpers were landing. And they were all supposed to land in the same area. And she looks up and realizes that her instructor is out. And she's still falling, and realizes, for a second, I thought, this is the worst joke I've ever heard of. This is not the time to make a joke. And now that it's still going on, she realizes this is no joke. He is unconscious. And she's pulling at stuff, and something came out but didn't deploy because it was too close to the earth. And they hit from 10,000 or whatever plus feet up. He managed to, I suppose, curl under her and served as a frigging mat. He died. She lived.
Wow.
And he had died in midair of a heart attack. And she got to walk away at age 26.
Wow.
Now, I got to say,
Wow.
something like that, you talk about, boy, that's just right. I'm talking about for her life. I'm dreadfully sorry for the gentleman. But clearly, if he was an instructor, he wasn't up there accidentally. He was up there because that was something he loved and he had made it his business. And, you know, I've often believed that if we are to die doing what we love, is there a better way to die? You know, when you think about it, we're all going to leave this earth. So if you leave it doing what you love, is that not best case scenario? You know, I mean, that's a whole separate discussion. But the point is, she had a couple of broken bones, but nothing that derailed her in any way. And she went to the hospital and got released, you know, a few days later. And, you know, she's had some pain and discomfort ever since. But I don't know of too many people that fall from that height and live to tell the story.
Wow.
You know, I did some research on that. I Googled it, and I just Googled because you know, you think that had to make at least a newspaper.
Yeah.
That story. And so I Googled.
Did you start your search by looking under friends that lie to me?
No, I Googled. No, I was just curious, like, you know, who
Scott's writing a novel over there.
and all of that. I Googled skydiving instructor
Dies in midair
in during tandem jump. And
discovered that more than one, that this happens fairly often or something.
it
What did you-
does.
Well, that's what I figured you were going to say.
You're
It-
kidding me.
Does. I couldn't believe that there were reports of it happening in the UK. It happened in North Carolina. It happened in Atlanta. And she's I think from what I could tell, from Louisiana.
Yes.
And it happened right down the road from you in Slidell area.
Yeah, it was 4
and-
years ago.
Yeah, and he had over 9,000 freaking jumps. He had jumped out of an airplane over 9,000 times. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Just the odds. What are the odds of that? The odds have to be absolutely unbelievable in her favor. Like, it's insane.
I wasn't going to say this, but what I was typing was I was sending you guys a text. Did they give her a refund?
Scott, you're the worst. You're the worst. Give her a refund. Oh my God.
Thanks for stopping by, Scott.
Oh, goodness gracious.
What are she should have got her money back at least.
Oh my God. I cannot even imagine. Like, and it said, the article I read said that she walked away from it. She got up and walked away.
She did get up and walk
and
away.
then they life flighted her to a hospital shortly.
That's correct. That's correct.
Wow.
So don't you think she should be a guest on our show?
Oh,
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
and Scott can ask her that question
I can
directly.
I'm dying to find out about the refund. I could have her next jump's free.
like she's going to be in a hurry to go sign up again. Your next jump's free.
Oh,
Like, hey, Donovan, we were talking about that at the Ultimate Business Summit. You know, why is it? You know, you have a bad meal at a restaurant and they say, don't worry, we'll give you half off the next one. Yeah, like I want to come back.
Right, exactly.
No,
Scott, you just got a review from Susan who says, Scott, that's just wrong.
Oh, look, Scott Ricard, his longtime friend.
See, that's why I texted first. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I would
Hey,
guys.
hey, Scott, tell us, Bud, tell us about the Ultimate Business Summit. How did that go, man? I know you had was it a 2-day event?
Yeah, 2-day. Well, we had a reception on Wednesday night for the folks that had acquired the VIP ticket, and then we met all day Thursday, and now half day on Friday. Charles Coachman was one of the folks that was there, and Donovan was there, and let's see, Scott was there. We had a bunch of folks there. Randall Reeder was there. And I'm telling you, we just had such a great event. And I think part of it is because, there you go. Next jump's free. I think part of it is, regardless of what business you're in, entrepreneurs have similar problems. You know, how do I get good people to work? How do I take care of my customers? How do I reduce my expenses without, you know, going so crazy over it that it cuts service and it cuts the value of what I do? And so we just had some great discussions on that. And it really was a mountaintop experience. And we were very fortunate that one of the people that has been a part of it, and Joseph is here. Yeah, he's going to be my guest. He's going to be my guest on my live stream on Tuesday, in fact.
Look what he said.
Yeah.
Looking at Glenn thinking he looks just like that Aaron Pierce dude on 24.
Does he not know?
I don't know. I think he does know, but
he's just playing. Okay.
Yeah. Joseph.
Well, if you were to put hair on Aaron's face, then yes, it would be.
Matter of fact, Joseph does live streams as well. He just had a very interesting guest. It was the showrunner and executive producer for Defending Jacob, which I don't know if you caught that yet on Apple.
I have not.
Gosh, it's fantastic. But what he was talking about was that it doesn't end the way the book ends. And that, you know, just talking about when you take a novel and turn it into a production, you have to think of a different audience. It was fabulous show with Joseph. Anyway, one of the folks that has attended our Ultimate Business Summit every year, this is our 5th and final year to do it, found out the night before that he was named to the Inc. 5000, which is the 5,000 fastest growing small businesses in America.
Wow.
So, a really great honor for Mark Stoner out of Nashville. And
congratulations, Mark.
Oh, thanks, Charles. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think I've been as stressed out as anything for a while. And I have a new appreciation, Ken, for what you do, because I was running the board and trying to coordinate. We had 4 different guest speakers. We had the 3 of us on all the time, and also I put up a big screen TV like right up here, and I've got a separate computer running Zoom on that, so I could watch everybody in the audience. It was crazy. Wow. So
you pulled it off.
We pulled it off.
Good.
So let me ask you, when you host an event like that, and you're also one of the speakers, do you find that in addition to being the provider of whatever takeaways you would like people to experience and offering value, do you also find that you yourself wind up with some takeaways?
That's a great question, Glenn. I've got pages of notes, and I'm doing my own program in October that'll just be me, and we're going to be talking about Stand Out, Earn More, the Distinction Summit is the title of it, but how, you know, everything that you want in life is under the control of somebody else. If you want a role, it's up to the casting director and the producer. If you want your child to get into the right college, that's up to the admissions counselor. If you want to make a sale, the customer gets to decide where they spend their money. Yeah, I do, Joe. So, you know, it's that's why it's important to stand out, because it positions you for selection. And so we're going to be talking about it's both an art and a science in terms of positioning yourself for selection and standing out from your competition. So I'm doing that in October, and I just learned so much. And we had such fabulous guest speakers. And the main thing is, you know, the great thing about Zoom is that you can put people in breakout rooms randomly.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd drop in on the breakout room, and they were talking about specific problems, and everybody there was a small business person or an entrepreneur or, you know, a speaker, consultant, trainer. And gosh, you know, just how COVID has just blown up so many businesses and just the challenges that they are facing. You know, there's one guy there, in New Jersey, and he's HVAC, you know, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And just the thing of making certain that his employees are respectful of the level of comfort of their customer is higher than ever before. You know, wearing a mask and now they're doing bids on FaceTime on their phone. You know, show me what you want. Oh, where's the water heater go? You know, and they're doing that on FaceTime. So the way that it has changed And that was part of the discussion too. It'd be interesting to know what you guys think. When this passes, and isn't that what was said? If you had to write 4 words that describe human history, it's "this too shall pass." So when this passes, what will we go back to? I mean, everybody says, "Oh, when it gets back to normal," but I think there's certain things that
are maybe irretrievable.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I personally think we're never going to go back to exactly the way it was. I do think that this is from my perspective, but I think that, prior to this, there were a lot of people already doing hybrid events, right? They would have speakers on stage, and then they're selling, or they're providing some sort of a live stream or whatever. I really think, and because there were also a lot of people that were not doing that still. And I think that has really, it's given people the opportunity to realize that, hey, technology is here. It's not going anywhere. We've got to quit saying, I can't, because I just don't know how to turn on a computer, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. Instead, it's like, look, if you're going to survive and continue to flourish and grow, and then you're going to have to learn technology. And this forced a lot of people to learn that.
I would be very afraid to be in the convention center business right now.
Oh God!
Not just now, but in the future as well. Because Ken, I mean, I've got a course we released called Post-Pandemic Events that Ken's my guru. Kind of taught me how to create a course, and that's been released, and we're got the card open on that, accepting registrations through Friday. Wow. And that was one of the things I predict in that is that it's never going back to the way it was. Well, you think about the Tonight Show. That's the example that I use in this. 1 million people watch it every night, but they record it in front of 150. Why? Because for the 1 million of us sitting at home, it gives us that live atmosphere, that electricity of that. And you can do that with a hybrid event. I saw where Indianapolis was talking about, maybe somebody back home can quote the exact number. I think it was something like 300 million to expand the convention center. And I'm like, man, I think you need to tap the brakes on that. I don't see there being an increased need for convention space. I think that we're moving into
the opposite direction.
The opposite direction, exactly.
Man, I couldn't agree more. And let's address Robert's comment, because I think the answer is no.
No,
that doesn't mean that other incarnations might have been, but I don't think it uniquely brings the three of us together.
No way.
And so this would be a demonstration of one of the blessings of COVID. That is not to say that COVID is a wonderful situation. It is, however, to say that within all situations, including those that challenge us, that there are distinct advantages available if we would be willing to discover them. And part of the discovery is to uncover them. I mean, they're there for the taking. They're not even far reaching. They're right there. And we have to feel out what's blocking them. John and I worked together all week. A big difference between last week and this week, because last week we had just completed day 1 and we'd done a couple of scenes, but we've been shooting together all week. And that means, of course, lots of discussions about a lot of different topics. And one of them was about what we do with adversarial circumstances, such as COVID and other things. And he said, it's interesting that so many people, and he wasn't being critical of it. He was simply making an observation. And I think there is an identifiable difference between an observation and a judgment. And John wasn't being judgmental at all. He just made the observation, and I shared with him that I agreed that there is a very large percentage of people who lament the fact that they have had a lot of adversarial things come their way in this lifetime, instead of celebrating the fact that it is those very same things that you're lamenting which have designed you to be the strong individual you are, if you would simply allow yourself to have that take on it. And that it's an available take. It's not a manufactured take. It's not something you have to talk yourself into, but you see it as something that has been actively constructing you one experience at a time to ready yourself for what the future will bring. and that these do not need to be things that disassemble you, and that it's entirely based on how you choose to process the information at hand. And the word he used was lament. And I agree, because we've all seen that. And the problem is that I suppose for some people, there might be some measure of satisfaction in having someone commiserate with you. The old saying is that misery loves company. What doesn't get enough press, though, is this: so does joy.
Yeah.
Joy loves company. Joy really loves company. So please know, for those of you who think that misery loves company, the truth is everything loves company. Mediocrity loves company. Desperation loves company. Prosperity loves company.
Yeah.
So decide where you want to be joined, and then choose to reside in that bandwidth. And listen, you can celebrate the things that might have kicked the snot out of you, but here's the good news: they didn't. And we know that because you're still here. And there is so much to be said for just being a survivor in general. If you're still here, you've handled whatever has come your way. And that, again, this is what our mutual discussion was about, that alone was worth celebrating, that nothing did you in, because you're still here. And I really thought that was beautiful. Now, this young lady, by the way, gents, Caroline is her name, with an INE. When she came to our set, I'd never worked with her before, never met her. And where this came up is because, people do leak. This is an expression that I use: people leak. And what was leaking out of her was intrinsic goodness, that just every day being near her, you could see this is a very illuminated person. And what she said was this, and I know that everyone here will love it. By the second day, there was a I don't want to call it rumor, there was a vibe floating around, and she was the point of its origin. She was. Now, by the way, I am accustomed to being that guy. I'm accustomed to that. Sometimes it's self-appointed, but it's just the way it goes, that in any cast, I will be the most upbeat person present, and people enjoy rallying around that energy. And what is this? What on earth is this? You mean I don't have to do that on this movie because someone's already got that upbeat vibe covered? Oh my gosh, I can't wait to learn more about you. And here is what she was bringing to the set. God bless her. She was having everyone get together at the end of the day, following rap, and you had to, it wasn't optional, you had to state what the 3 best things were that had occurred that day in your life.
Wow.
At the end of the workday. So from the time you woke up, and it didn't have to be on set, but because basically we're waking up, showering, and going straight to the set, there's very little time for anything to have occurred. And I said, well, you're really only asking us to list 2. And she said, how's that? I said, because we all start with the same one, which is that we woke up. Right? So it starts with that we woke up. And so now you've got this group of filmmakers, all of whom are finding what's right about what we're doing instead of going in search of what's wrong. And it was so upbeat that I have to know, young lady, what makes you tick? Where do you come from? And it turns out that this was the pivotal moment in her life that changed it all. And she's never been happier, because she's always looking for the blessings in everything. And she's always looking to what she can focus on that is fabulous about her experience everywhere.
Because she jumped out of an airplane. For anybody just joining, Glenn told a story of young lady that he met this week.
She's 30 now, but this happened 4 years ago.
Yeah, well, 30's young.
Yeah.
4 years ago is even younger. But, that jumped out of an airplane on her very first tandem jump ever, terrified, her gut telling her not to do it, but she identified it, she thought, as just fear instead of her gut. And her tandem jumper, the guy that she was tethered to, had a heart attack, passed out on the way down, and they hit the ground. The chute's never opened, nothing, which is unbelievable. Somebody smarter than me, tell me if I wonder if anybody knows, at 10,000 feet, how fast you would be going when you hit the ground.
Terminal velocity, which is about 150, 160 miles per hour. There's a height where it maxes out.
Wow.
Where you're going that same speed, whether you fall from 10,000 feet or 100 feet.
Yeah.
It might need to be a little faster to get up to the speed of 150, but that is terminal velocity is in that range. So
Wow.
I know that it's too hard, whatever it is, but isn't that great? And what it does to everybody is it starts putting them on notice. Now, once they see what she's doing, what is it? Oh, I was close. 163 is terminal velocity. Okay.
Larry says 120 and 150. Robert's saying 163 miles per hour.
I was pretty close. I said 150 to 160. But when the point is, Scott and Ken, is that now she, by her mere presence and positivity, has groomed an entire cast and crew, mostly crew, because we only have 4 people in this film. Everyone is now looking for what's beautiful in one another, what's beautiful on set, what's beautiful. And she single-handedly transformed what could have been an otherwise mediocre or possibly even dark vibe, which can occur on sets. And all it took was one person to be the source of the light.
How did she get interested in weapons and doing what she's doing for the film?
That never got talked about, but I think that's a great question to ask her when she's on our show.
Yeah. You just made me think about, like, there's Scott, you're probably familiar with it. Glenn, you might be. You've spent time in the Midwest. There's a restaurant chain that started here in Ohio called Bob Evans down on the farm. Yes. And they have the best food. It's just home cooked food. And it's just delicious. No matter.
And it's nothing that keeps you slender. I know that much.
It's nothing. Well, they're meatloaf. But anyway, so
meatloaf.
I'm kidding. What
kind of dietary plan is that?
So anyway, we're at the one here in Marion, Ohio, where we live, and we're there, and I mean, it's just the best service. It was phenomenal. And there's this woman running. And it's spotless. It's always clean. She's got the little vacuum pusher thing. It's not the electric kind. It's just the ones that, they sweep up real quick around tables. And I go, hey, I got to tell you, like, the service and the energy here is just unbelievable. Like, she goes, thanks. That's why we're number 1 in the nation. And I go, what? She goes, we're the number 1 Bob Evans store in the entire nation. I said, really? Wow. This little podunk town? And she goes, yeah, we're number 1. I go, where is the manager? She goes, I'm the manager. I go, I go, where's the general manager? She goes, I'm the general manager. And she had this amazing energy. And she started telling me about how she meets with her team, gets them fired up every day. She meets with them at the end. And that is what it takes, man. That is what it takes. That's a perfect example, Glenn, what you just said. Anybody that runs a company should be taking notes right now based on what you just said. This young lady had the entire production crew doing, and it's amazing. That's what it is. That's right there.
I am a little late at doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and share out our show.
I already did. I shared it.
Did you? Yeah, but you shared it to the group, right?
I shared it to both the groups.
Yeah. Okay, good. I just shared it on mine. We got involved. So I would like your feedback on something, Scott. I mentioned this to Ken, and you'll have to forgive me, but I was so busy trying to coordinate with John being on the show last week that I didn't get to hit on this. And I think maybe, Ken, it was one of our privates. Let me clarify, not our private parts, our private discussions. I said on one of our privates, and I went, maybe that needs some clarification.
Oh my God, no.
But no, it's this idea, which is very congruent with Caroline and the way she's been uplifting everyone down here. But this idea of positivity translating into mindfulness. Now, did I show you guys this tattoo? Did I show you that last week?
No.
You did.
Okay. So this is a tattoo that I have. There's a closer view of it. It's not a tattoo of mine. I don't have any tattoos, but it's for the movie. And the reason I bring it up is because this tattoo was hand drawn by our special makeup artist. So you have the one who does your face and so forth. And then specialty makeup are the people who come in and do things like wounds. And I get shot in the film. So he needed to give me a wound. And because they're spending some dough on it, an exit wound. So they're both real, and they pull my shirt up and you can see, and it's very grotesque and very realistic. You can see where the bullet went through me and where it exited out of me. And then he put this tattoo. Well, the gunshot only applies for one scene. And then a piece of a second scene where they see it. And all the other days it's covered up by a shirt, so they don't need to do it. But this is available based on my short sleeve shirt that I'm wearing. We see this tattoo in every scene. Sounds small, but I think there's a teaching behind this. Every night when I go home, because it's really hot down here and I'm muddy in most of the movie, and after they get me in makeup, they cover me with dirt. That's part of the makeup. So I'm hot and pretty miserable by the end of the day. And I go to shower. This is the one part of my body that I don't shower. And the sole reason is to make his job easier the next day. Because I'm here alone anyway. My wrist does not need to look pretty. And he was so blown away that after a few days, all he needed to do was touch it up, but he didn't have to start from scratch. So he just filled in, he's basically working with a template. And he said, I cannot thank you enough for that, because he's so used to having to start over every time. And I think what this teaches is it's not about that one moment. It's about, are you living your life this way? It's about, are you doing anything in your daily life to make someone else's experience just a wee bit easier, whether it's waving somebody into traffic, whether it's, you fill it in. But I'll promise you, if you create a compilation of moments like that, that translates into happiness.
Yeah,
it just does, because you're being of service to others. And he commented on it. And I just thought it was really beautiful. He said, Glenn, thank you so much for not washing that off every day. It makes my job so much easier.
Glenn, that reminded me, one of the outside speakers that we had at the Ultimate Business Summit is a pal of mine named Simon Bailey. Simon's an author and speaker, but he was an executive with Disney for many years on the parks side. And when he talked about how long it took Disney to decide, you go through months of interviews before you get an executive position at Disney to make sure that you're in. And he said one of the things that struck him the most through that process is that during the interview with the CEO of the parks of Disney World, Simon mentioned, well, one of the things I always try to do is go the extra mile. And the guy goes, no, that's not what we want. At Disney, we go the extra inch. And talked about, everybody can say I go the extra mile, but it's doing the extra inch. It's not showering your wrist. Going the extra mile is buying dinner for the crew. Going the extra mile is,
You're saying that the inches are what form the miles.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And and he says, if I can get all of my team to go the extra inch, then organizationally, we go the mile for the customer.
So can we all look at the extra inch? Can we all, we, not just I, we are asking everyone here, look at the extra inches where you can go that extra inch that are available to you all the time. Here is another example of that doesn't even need a story. It's real simple. When I'm done at the end of the day, I walk my wardrobe. This isn't just here. This is everywhere. I walk my wardrobe back to the wardrobe truck, which is not, and I don't need any kudos for this. I'm just teaching a concept. I don't have to do that. And yet I feel that I do, but it's not a requirement. And so what they're used to doing is wardrobe is used to coming into your trailer and seeing your shirt, your pants, your socks, whatever it is, your shoes that are part of the wardrobe, just, they're all over the place. And instead, mine are neatly folded and or hung. If they come in some kind of a wrapper, they will be restored that way, and they're brought back to the truck. And I always hear the exact same thing, and it's never changed. You don't have to do that. Hey, Glenn, you know you don't have to do that. And I say, of course I do, but I know it takes just about 3 or 4 minutes out of your day at the end of the day when you don't want to do anything else. Now you start dividing that up by 15 actors.
Yeah.
So there's an extra hour of work just going to and from everyone's trailer to because you not only have to pick it up, you got to hang it up because they didn't do that. So those are those inches that you're talking about, Scott. And I got to tell you, that's where rehires come from, don't you know?
Yeah.
Because when people go, you know what, you don't live on planet me, you actually live on planet we, and you are valuing me as your wardrobe supervisor. And you're saying, I get that you have a life to live. I get that you need to get home. And I know this helps you just a little bit. Let me therefore do it.
You know, my wife and I were watching last night. There's a guy on Instagram and he's on TikTok. He's everywhere, Facebook, called the Cartnarks, CARTNARCS. And this guy is freaking hilarious. I don't know about you guys, but me, when I pull into a grocery store or anywhere that has those, the carts, it makes me insane to see a bunch of carts sitting around in the open parking lot. Like, I just think my first thought is, you lazy pieces of crap. And I hate to see carts that have been left somewhere that they got picked up by the wind or something, and they've slammed into somebody's car. People don't even think about putting their carts back.
So can you say that again, Ken? Because I'm taking notes. So this exercise begins with extreme judgment of humankind first.
Yes.
Is that right? It starts with you, low life,
lazy
pieces.
Scumbag.
And then, so you start with all these good actions, start with judgment. Is that right?
Look,
okay.
How hard is it? How difficult is it to take your cart, unload it into your car, and then push it an extra 25 feet over to the cart corral thing? Like, and I saw Roxy just said it too. It's like putting your cart into the cart alley instead of leaving it in the parking lot. So this guy, and I think he's based out of LA, but he literally goes all over the country, and he like calls himself Agent Sebastian. He's the Cartnark, and he goes, "Have you seen that? It's hilarious." He goes running up to these cars and he goes, "Hey, excuse me," and he's got a flashing wand light. It flashes red and and he's like making these sounds, whoop, 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 and like, yeah, and he's like, hey, lazy bones, hey, before you drive off, why don't you go ahead and put your cart back? Looks like you have a case of lazy bone-itis. I mean, it's unbelievable, and people get mad.
Some people say, I bet his responses are crazy, aren't they?
Oh, he gets some. Oh my God, he gets some hate.
Do you know the standard unconscious response to that, Ken? Because I've seen it. I've pointed this out to many a person. Do you know the most common answer?
What?
Don't they have people that do that?
Oh, yeah.
That's the standard answer. And you're going, yes, they do. That's not the point.
Right.
The point is, it's only one action for you. And for every person that doesn't do that, that's 70, 80, 95 carts that they have to retrieve. Whereas if everybody just took the extra 20 seconds that it takes to walk over, file the cart away, and then get on with your life. And, that becomes a discipline, because the truth is, if you're doing it with carts, you're probably doing it throughout your life.
It's about being like, I'll walk through a grocery store parking lot, and now I don't, I'm not like scouring the entire, but if I see trash laying on the ground or something, I'll pick up some papers and put them in. Like, people are so freaking lazy. Like, it just, and then they wonder why everything else shows up mediocre in their life. Like, you can't make your bed, you can't put the cart away, and you wonder why everything else is mediocre.
Well, because of the law of how we do anything is how we do everything.
Absolutely. Yeah. Carolyn Chase literally just typed that before you said it. Wow.
Oh, she did. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
really true. We keep showing up, don't we?
Yeah.
The way we are, we just keep showing up that way, and all we do is just change the scenery. But there we are showing up again with our methodologies.
It's what Jill just said. It's one of those little inch things that like
Yeah, Scott actually mentioned it. I just happen to agree with him. I think it's a brilliant teaching.
It is. I agree.
That was Simon Bailey. I was quoting him just to make sure I give that right. But golly, and how many doors get dinged? There's the other thing. They won't put their car up, but they will rant to holy hell if one hits their car, and puts a ding in their car. The inability, the psychological term is transpositional thinking, putting yourself in someone else's shoes in another situation. And the blatant inability of so many people to do that is just shocking. So,
I have actually seen this, Scott. I've actually seen someone unload their cart, send it back a little ways, just push it back out of the way, but didn't return it, and then promptly backed into it and got out angry. I've seen that. I have actually seen that. And I'm thinking it doesn't get any funnier than that. So you're pissed off at the person who left a cart there, and that person was you.
Yeah. That's kind of the definition of poetic justice, isn't it? Right?
It is. I had to do everything to keep from laughing.
Oh, that's so good. Good.
Oh, it's crazy. You guys got to look this guy. He's on Facebook. You got to look it up. Cart Narcs, and he's hilarious. He calls them lazy bones right to their face.
Hey, can you guys help me make good on my word? I didn't ask you in advance, but you're my pals. Can we do a little musical break? John, can you just look and see? There's a music video, something about a country boy or country guy. John recommended it as his other music video that's out there that's really good. And I talked to him an hour ago, and now I've already forgotten what it was. But if you can look it up while we're talking about, the other thing is that, and I know this starts sounding woo-woo foo-foo, Scott, but I think you're a member of the woo-woo foo-foo club.
Country Girls?
With me. What is it?
Country Girls?
A good guy, country guy, something. It's just a music video of his. Because I asked him if he could sing live, and they are in the middle of watching this movie, or he would. But I said, well, what if we were to play a song of yours? I don't care. I just want to play like a song, a little piece of something. And then if anyone's near Parker, Colorado on the 21st, they can go see him. But as far as the woo-woo foo-foo, here's the thing. When we do those little things like that, we're building a better world. We're building a better world, and we feel better about our role in it. And then all of a sudden, and I'm not exaggerating, and anyone who's practiced living this way knows it to be the truth. You know what happens? Things start going smoothly.
Yes.
Things begin moving into alignment. And yes, is it linked? The answer is yes, it is linked. Is it coincidental? No, it's not. Is it just happened to be that good fortune came? No. These things, there's this saying in metaphysics that water seeks its own level, like seeks like. And so whenever we are practicing conscious contributions, that's what I call them, Scott, that basically we are demonstrating for the heavens what we believe in, and we're believing that goodness and helping and all of that is the correct way to live. And then all of a sudden, that's what we become the recipients of. That's not the reason for doing it, but it is the byproduct. And I say, honestly, I'll bet you there are no less than at least a half dozen opportunities a day, and probably well more, but at least blatant opportunities to be of service and to go the extra inch and do something that I know someone in an identical situation might not do. And I think it's a primary reason why I live my life with my head above water, with an ease about me that doesn't spin its head around in anxiety and worry and fearing the worst is getting ready to happen at any moment, because I'm in there from the spirit of love, making a difference in this world. And that is not said from a boastful place.
Sure.
It's simply how I live. And I encourage it because the energetic response from doing that is so light. That's the word I want to use. It's light. It's not heavy. I don't feel like I'm walking around with a set of barbells on my back, because I'm thinking all the time, how can I be of service?
I think you and I probably are coming from the same place here. So I'll just ask you the question. Do you believe in such a thing as coincidence?
Define coincidence.
That kind of gives away my position, right?
Okay, well, that's all right. Go ahead and give it away then.
To me, coincidence is a seemingly random happening for which you have no current explanation.
No, I don't.
And see, I just by definition, seemingly random to me implies that it seems that way in the moment, but it may take us a period of time, or it may take us, a while to realize that it wasn't random. The fact that we have no explanation for it doesn't mean there's not an explanation.
Yes, well said.
It just means that we haven't become aware of it, either through our limited awareness, or we don't know the end of the story, or whatever it might be. I just don't believe in coincidence. I think that there's a reason for everything, and we may not know it yet, so therefore we ascribe it. Many people ascribe it to coincidence, but I don't think, I can tell you moments where my life changed, and I'm sure it's the same with all of us. And I don't think that's the same as, rolling a 7 at a craps table here in Vegas. I like that God incidence. Yeah. I just find it impossible to believe in coincidence. And
I am entirely with you on that. And I think it's basically the difference between a micro and a macro perspective, Scott.
Yes.
That the more we see life from the macro perspective, if I could picture God saying 2 words other than love you, leaning in, I think 2 other words God might routinely be saying to us is this: stay tuned. Stay tuned, because people are so quick to jump to conclusions and jump to, well, this means that, and this means that. And one of the phrases I've grown to not be fond of as I've gotten older is the phrase, and I mentioned it in a midweek show this week, is the phrase, no good deed goes unpunished. I so disagree with the energy that surrounds that, because that is such a pessimistic take on life. Because what it means is this is uttered by people who immediately are trying to take notes in every microsecond of life, that anytime something goes wrong right on the heels of a good deed or a good action, and then shortly after it, some disastrous event or calamity occurs, and they decide, you see, and what they're really doing is they're just trying to be right about something that doesn't serve them to be right about. And it's a colossal error. And the truth is, conscious contributions of love and positivity and energy and helpfulness and being of service, every one of those are wonderful energies. They are all noble. And here's the thing, they add up really, really well over the long haul, but not necessarily in the short term. And so you can do something today. Well, it's just like, for example, what if all you did was eat salad for 8 hours and then you get on the scale? Well, okay, you've been eating salad for 8 hours. That doesn't mean you're going to see results, but keep eating the salad would be my coaching. Keep eating the salad, keep drinking the water instead of a Coca-Cola, keep eating the salad instead of a 5-gallon thing of ice cream. And then over the long haul, see if in fact eating well results in a better body out picturing. We already know in advance the answer is yes. So if it works with salad and as a metaphor, then don't we know that salad is the metaphor for good choices? Therefore, good choices and using that pattern are going to produce favorable results. I don't care what field of endeavor we're talking about. If we make good choices over the long haul, you will create favorable outcomes, and there is no maybe about that, unless you're looking to find fault with doing good.
I've been riding the Peloton bike here for the last little bit, and my favorite instructor has this one line, and she says, "Your body ain't Amazon Prime. It ain't going to get here in 2 days."
Right.
And I love that, because that's how it is. Hey, I've ridden the bike 2 days. How come I'm not in shape yet? You know, everything in our culture moves us to think that instant gratification is the way of the universe, and it's never been. It's never been.
It all started with the microwave.
Tammy puts instant coffee in the microwave and wants it to hurry up. You know, I mean, we don't wait on it.
And she's not alone, Scott. There's a whole tribe that are standing in front of their microwaves going, "Come on, I don't have a minute."
Hey, yeah, exactly. In our, I say this, Anna, in one of my books, that we become a microwave culture. You know, that we expect to put something in and hit the button and then get what we want out in 60 seconds. And it doesn't work that way. The late, great Jim Rohn that Kyle Wilson managed, that, you know, was our guest here several weeks back. You know, he had this great story about, he'd ask the audience, fill in the blank, an apple, and they respond, a day
keeps
the doctor away. He said, what if that's true? Well, one thing it means is you don't eat an apple today and think you never have to go to the doctor. It's the little disciplines repeated consistently.
Right. So it's a day.
A day.
It doesn't just say an apple keeps the doctor away.
Right. Exactly.
That's a sentence edited down that doesn't work.
Right. Exactly.
Inch by inch.
What was that in the Three Stooges? You remember that? Inch by inch, step by step.
No.
I think I've watched too many episodes of the Three Stooges.
That I like the Stooges, but that's one I don't remember.
Really? You don't remember that one? Do you remember this one? Random insert for our show. B-A Bay, B-E-B, B-I Bicky Bye, B-O Bo, Bicky Bye Bo, Bay, you boo, Bicky Bye Bo Boo. No?
No.
No?
Well, yeah.
That was when they were all three playing professors at a woman's university.
Women's college. Yes.
Yeah, they were at a woman's college. And then they said, everybody sing it with us. And they jumped to C and went, C-A say, C-C, C-I sicky si, C-O so, sicky si so, say you sue, sicky si so, sue. And the last one ended with, Curly's a dope. What did you just put up on the screen, Ken?
Renee Rose says, I'm hot. Pacific Ocean at the water shores, 33 or 92.5 Fahrenheit. Rare temperatures for Vancouver. Wow. Yeah, they don't have air conditioning normally up there either. Wow.
Yeah, that's my friend Renee up in Vancouver.
Yes.
And
Renee's here about every week. Yeah.
Yeah, she's with us all the time. She loves to watch the show. And
Charles, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, she and I lost a dear friend, and I just want to say, God bless you, Ken. Excuse me, Sid Kozak. I want to send blessings out. Our friend who lost his life this week, not related to COVID, but just an unfortunate turn of events in his life, and I want to just acknowledge out loud that he made such a big difference to my life in Vancouver, and was a casting director, Canadian-based casting director out of Vancouver, that cast me in a number of projects and got my career really rocking and rolling in the late 90s up in the Vancouver area, which was kind of the sci-fi capital of the world and still is. And we went on to become dear friends. We started out as professional acquaintances, then professional friends, and then moved into being personal friends, and went out and had many a dinner together. And we used to go out and play. We would love to go to the casino and play blackjack together. And he was never a craps player, but we spent a lot of time and a lot of fun and time in his home. And then he wound up moving to the park where Renee lives in Vancouver, and lived there in the park as a neighbor. And they were best of friends. And we just learned yesterday. So,
I'm so sorry. Glenn.
Yeah. Yeah. So blessings to you on your journey through time, Sid Kozak. Thank you. God bless you.
What a great city Vancouver is.
Oh, yes, it is.
I've got a good friend up there. He owns BC Business Magazine, a guy named Peter Legg. And his mentor is the guy that was the one of the owners of Hudson Bay. I couldn't think of what the name of it was. And so we got invited to this reception at this guy's house, and oh my gosh, I mean, jaw dropping. I mean, I couldn't. I'm from Crothersville, Indiana. I can't believe I'm in this house, and there's this guy at the bar, and I'm getting a drink. I'm like saying, this is the most wonderful thing I've ever seen in my life. And he said, yeah, it's a beautiful city, isn't it? I said, yes, it is. I said, what do you do? He says, well, I work for the city. I said, well, man, I would sure love to meet the mayor and tell him what a gorgeous city this is. He said, well, you just did.
Oh, wow.
But I thought, how cool that the mayor of Vancouver, to me, that's very Canadian. And I mean that in the highest compliment, that he didn't say, hi, I'm the mayor. It was, I work for the city. I just thought that was the coolest thing, that someone would be that humble in that situation, to just talk about his city and he worked for the city and all that. That's what we should all aspire to be that kind of seemingly humble servant.
Well, for those of you who've never been to Vancouver, I recommend it year round, but I especially recommend it right now. Yeah. The months of August and September are by far their most beautiful months. And I'm a big fan of rain. This is why I love Vancouver year round. But for people who rain starts getting to after a while, then go there in August and September, because the rain count is the slightest it is throughout the year. And it's gorgeous, clear skies and clean air and beautiful mountains that drop sharply down right into the ocean. And a lot of them are still snow-capped in the summertime. Vancouver's one of the top places in the world for sure.
You guys ever been to Banff by any chance?
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of gorgeous places, that is just.
I assume if you've been there, you've been to Lake Louise.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's a bucket list for you. That really is. It is worth going. It's so incredible.
What, Ken? What were you saying, bud?
I said, I feel like I need to get out more. I'm kidding.
Well, yeah.
Take your mask.
I lived in Seattle, and I never went up to Vancouver. A lot of people that I knew out there did, but yeah.
Do you know that most cities I've ever mentioned, I've only visited, and you go, I've lived in Tampa. And then I'll go, well, we were driving through Seattle, and I've lived in Seattle. And then I go, I was out in San Francisco, and you're going, I owned a brake shop in San Francisco. It's just, is it your go-to line that whatever city's being talked about, you had a business there at one point?
I lived in Seattle for a year. What?
I remember I mentioned Tempe once. It was like I sold air conditioners in Tempe. It's.
I never lived in Tempe.
Did you ever find a song from John?
Yeah, but I'm a little afraid to play it because last week our video got flagged.
Oh, well, then never mind.
I mean, on Facebook.
Never mind. Okay.
Well, it could have been the Black Eyed Peas song that did it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, but let's blame John and not me, because he's not here to defend himself. That works so much easier.
Okay. I mean, it was
they're crazy about that, though. I mean, crazy strict.
They are.
But here's what makes no sense. There's no profit here for us, and the stuff's already online. Anybody can just go to YouTube. We're only showing things that are already online.
Yeah.
And we're not doing it for profit. So wherein that lies fault?
Well, let's play it. All I have to do is go in and say we have the rights to play it. I mean,
first of all, he's given permission. He just told me. So let's say this right into the camera. I just talked with John Schneider. This is his music. He said, yeah, go play this. So if you have any questions, take it up with John Schneider.
Are you in his house right now?
And yes, I'm actually in his home. I'm in his wife's office, as if maybe that's close enough. So, I might have a relationship with him. I'm just saying.
Well, then, you know what? Let's just do it.
Yeah, I don't really think we're rolling the dice here, Ken.
I
really don't. And when we're both in jail and Scott's the only one who will bail us out, then we'll feel differently.
That's right. Yeah.
So playing the John Schneider video is wrong, but setting up a fake account with your picture, A-OK. Way to go, Facebook.
Right. Yeah. They let that slide every day, multiple times. It's insane. All right, so let's play this. I have Crazy Women pulled up.
And while it's playing, I'm going to run go see if John's done with his movie yet.
Okay.
Thank God you boys pulled over.
She was a redhead, drop dead, gorgeous with a waterbed. Said she had a double wide black light all night party pad.
Mind if I ride you boys for a while?
And my head was a spinning. Cause it was last call, alcohol had me up against the wall. Bouncer said, pay your tab and get a room, y'all. But she just stood there regretting. I said, I can't help myself. I love crazy women. She climbed up in my truck, spit in my skull cup, put her whiskey lips against my ear, popped my shifter into gear, said, let's get out of here and go skinny dipping. Our Lord have mercy, y'all. I love crazy women. I love crazy women. Crazy with a capital C. I love crazy women. And crazy women love me. We pulled down by the lake shore. Clothes on the truck floor, flashlight in my eyes. Sheriff said, surprise! We got a law against stripping. I said, I'm sorry, sir. I just love crazy women. I love crazy women. Crazy with a capital C. I love crazy women, and crazy women love me. Woke up in my front yard, no keys or credit cards, rose bush in my hair. How the hell did I get here? And how did I get this ticket? Oh, wait a minute, I remember now. Crazy women. I love crazy women. Crazy with a capital C. I love crazy women, and crazy women love me. I love crazy women, crazy with a capital C. I love crazy women, and crazy women love me. Crazy women love me. The crazier, the crazier.
I've been out here.
There we go.
Then my butt crack.
That's a fun song.
That is a fun song.
That was really, really terrific. And I went over because that was not the one he originally directed us to, but I told him, I just went outside. You know, I enjoy my life. I enjoy that we can be watching this. And I walked out one door, went out onto his back patio and told him what we were watching. And he goes, just like this. He goes, yeah, that's a good one. He's watching this movie because they are doing some last minute cuts. So it's actually a business screening where the people that are watching it with him are giving him feedback on the movie and what works and what doesn't and why. before it goes to distribution. And as a fellow filmmaker, I understand the value of that. And you want people who really will tell you the truth, which is great. So
Yeah.
if we talk a few more minutes, he may come out of that screening, and man, it would be fun to hear him play something live. But I enjoyed that.
That was great.
Yeah,
song.
he is talented. I got it. Last week after the show was over, I was sitting here finishing some stuff up, and I said to my Amazon device, play some John Schneider music, and bam! I mean, she just played one after the other. He's all over the place. It's incredible.
So we'll try to find one out near you, Scott. But Ken and I made an agreement today that we would meet up and go to a John event, and I'll bring you guys backstage.
Awesome.
We're going to do that. And I don't know if you're going to be doing any traveling with COVID and whatnot, but we're not going to try to go to the one in Colorado. That's a bit of a schlep, but I'm sure that he'll have an event that he said he'd canceled. I think he said he'd canceled something like 70 events since March, because he really is active with this. He's set up a situation where if he doesn't make another movie or TV show, he's in heaven right here on his property, and goes out and does these concerts. And then when he's here, he writes and directs and stars in his own movies that are shot right here in his backyard.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And particularly for country acts, summer is the time, because that's when all the county fairs and state fairs and
is that true? It's a bigger time for concerts.
I have an interest in one of those bus companies that took country music stars around, and that was the crazy part of that business. If you had 1,000 buses, you could keep them rolling in the summer, but what are you going to do with them the other 8-9 months? But it's a summer crazy business.
Jill does a lot of marketing for the some county fairs and state fairs. The Florida State Fair hired her a couple of years ago and had her come down, do all their marketing and PR, and man, they're just like this big one that she was doing here in Ohio. I mean, they're canceling everywhere. All the fairs are canceling, and that's after spending an entire year getting everything ready.
Yeah. The Kentucky State Fair did the same thing. They canceled my pals, the Oak Ridge Boys, and that's the first time they will not have appeared at the Kentucky State Fair since '77.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my mom and I really don't know what to do with ourselves, because we always go to the Texas State Fair. It's a long-standing tradition, and especially Mom. I've missed a couple of years, but my mother does not miss. And so now the fair is shut down, and it's always in September. It's toward the end of September and rolling over into October, the Texas State Fair, which I think I've heard it is the largest revenue generator in the entire state of Texas.
Wow.
For the whole year. But then again, Scott, you said that one of those events, like the biggest one they hold every year in Las Vegas, is one of the many that have been canceled, right? The really big one that generates the largest.
The CES show, Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah.
And, it's not until end of January, and they've already canceled it. But it's the biggest show of the year. I got a note from one of our attendees at the Ultimate Business Summit who was booked for a trade show in Vegas, and they announced they were going to continue and have the show in late September. And not that they were going to cancel the trade show, but still have the meeting along with it. And now they've moved it to Indianapolis because of how Indiana is doing compared to Vegas. They can have it more safely in Indiana than they can in Las Vegas. So little did I know I was moving away from the convention.
Yeah.
But
Jill said Texas is the biggest fair in the country. Yeah, she knows.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely huge. And Scott, I should probably let you know, I mean, I could do this privately, but why not say it in front of everybody? I want you to know that I put you in the director's thinking last night.
Oh my goodness.
I did, because of your voice.
Oh.
And we were talking about different types that he's got coming up for casting in movies. And he was talking about voices and people and I said, there's none better than this. And I said, and I'll tell you right now, the two people that I know best that are qualified for what you're asking for are Scott McCain and Brad Sham.
Oh my goodness! To be in the same sentence
so,
as Brad
well,
Sham is.
So I want you to know that you're now on our director's radar. His name is David Bush, and he is directing 3 movies in a row right now.
Wow!
Down here, one right on top of the other. Meaning he will wrap this movie on Wednesday. Thursday morning, he starts shooting another film.
Oh
Wow.
And our movie began the day after he wrapped the previous one, which was a little longer shoot. That one was a 3-week shoot, like 18 days.
Mhm.
Ours was 10, so our days have run longer, but really compressed. And then he'll roll right into this and then cut all 3 movies at the same time. Now, it's very efficient, and he's a young director. But what I'm trying to do is create a co-op between our studio and John's studio, so that if in the event that they're in kind of a rush and they don't have the schedule that would allow for traditional casting to be set up, John told me he doesn't really like to audition people anyway, that he likes it to come through submitted tapes and through relationship capital. People have already known you, they've worked with, and this is why they use and reuse a lot of the same people over and over again. So I just said, with that in mind, if you ever have a film that you need to cast and you don't have someone in your existing stable, let me know what your needs are, because chances are with the extra mile, you know, we probably have in our talent pool around 400 people, and then 85 to 100 on a regular basis attendees at all times. Chances are we're going to have whatever you need. And I want as many people to have this experience that I've had, because I feel like a kid, frankly, being down here at summer camp, only instead of horseback riding, you're making movies. It's a really, really special experience.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So don't be surprised if I call you and say, hey, they would like you to do this.
I got to tell you, Glenn, you don't know how thrilled that makes me, because one of the things I've always wanted, just one time, would to do the previews for coming attractions, just to be able to say, in a world where few survive.
Right. Well, there is your audition right there. Do it one more time so that I can play this for the director tomorrow. No, I'm serious. In fact, if I see him, because we're done with the show fairly early, he's going to be looking at dailies, and I'm going to say, you got to hear this, in a world.
What was the guy's name? Don LaFontaine used to do all that?
Yes.
Well, anyway, but that was his famous line: "In a world where few survive, Glenn Morshower is the man."
Will you say this for me? Because I was kidding him the other day, because he always says, "Is there a world?" And that's how he asks his questions, you know, and he's a very young man. And he goes, "Is there a world where I could have you start camera left and then banana around to the front of," I'm serious. "Is there a world in which," and it always starts. So I started kidding him, and I said, "You know, David, I'll bet you go into an ice cream store and you ask for a really upper end ice cream, and they say, sir, I'm sorry, but all we have is vanilla and chocolate." And you look at them and go, "Is there a world wherein you could possibly have strawberry? Is there a world?" And it's just, he started laughing because he points with his fingers a lot. He says, "Now we're going to push in. We're going to push in. It'll start with a 2. We might even move to a 3 shot. Then we'll push in tight." And he's got all these signals that he uses. And he says, "It's always the 2, like hook 'em horns when I'm coming underneath, showing the size of the frame, you know, like this. And it's 2 and then push. And it's funny. But I want to show him, because that was a lot like LaFontaine sounded.
Oh, and did you see our pal Craig said he did?
Oh, is Craigie watching tonight?
Yeah, how cool is that?
Oh, Craig knew Don? Yeah, well, Don was, you know, Don had at one time, he had the market cornered.
Yeah. Oh,
where he would get in his limo. I watched a documentary about him. He would get in his limo and he would go from one gig to the next, physically traveling around his limo, walk in, do his bit, get in the limo, and go to the next studio.
Wow.
And of course, more and more as he got older, I guess she started recording things at home, but he was the premier guy. And here's the deal. If you wanted your movie to be a hit, you wanted subliminally as a filmmaker, you wanted his voice associated with your show, or the other way around. You wanted your movie associated with his voice.
Yeah.
People would see it as, hey, this is going to be good. How do we know? Because they've got the guy's voice, and no one knew his name.
That's so true.
There's only industry people that knew his name.
Yeah. No, I didn't know his name till I saw the documentary. I just knew, you kept hearing that voice over and
Now,
over.
is it called Even in a World?
I think it is. Isn't that the name of it? That is the name of it. Isn't it? I believe you're right.
Can you look it up and see
I'll
if
do it
that's the
right
name
now.
of it? In a World. By the way, I want to welcome Joan Anton back tonight, my dear friend, our dear friend
Yeah.
from Pennsylvania, because she has been on the mend for a little bit, and I'm glad to see that Joan was able to tune in tonight.
Oh, cool.
I love you, sweet girl, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
I put this up 3 times. Did you see this, Glenn?
What the hell is all that crackling noise
He says
outside?
we're officially Texans, so it looks like it's
Oh,
Craig.
wait, have they already moved there? They weren't going to move there for a little while.
I've seen pictures on Facebook. His place is gorgeous.
So, Craig, will you let us know, has the house been finished? Has it been completed? And if you're referring to thunder, which they do not get in Los Angeles, and that's why he's asking about the crackling, I'm not in Dallas right now. I'm in southern Louisiana, but I will be back there. And that's called thunder, Craig. It's something that other parts of the country know about.
Oh,
It's hail. Roxy says it's hail.
Yeah.
can I share my screen
Please.
Yes.
for a second? Let's see
Ken
if I
has to approve that and make it.
hang on. I've got it in Safari and I need to move
So
it over.
you're living in Frisco now, Craig? Is that an affirmative?
Yep.
We are here. Wow.
Yep.
Let me tell you how much you're going to miss LA. Zero. LA's beautiful, but you're going to find so many advantages to living in Texas. You're just going to love it. But yeah, thunder is a new concept for Craig.
Wow. Well,
Let's see what you got, Scotto.
he's surely heard thunder.
I know we're over, but we were kind of hanging in a few extra minutes to see if John's movie would wrap up.
Okay, and I did click share audio, just so you know, Ken.
You knew we were going to ask.
I've watched my courses. I don't always get it right the first time, but I've been watching my.
That's like the best. He's up there. He's got to be the best student I have. So, all right, now you can go full screen. Click
Okay, let me go.
full screen.
Oh, here he is. Here's Don LaFontaine.
Paula Sela is a real Geico customer, not an actor. So to help tell her story, we hired that announcer guy from the movies.
When the storm hit, both our cars were totally underwater.
In a world where both of our cars were totally underwater,
We thought it would take forever to get some help.
but a new wind was about to blow.
With Geico, we had our check in 2 days.
Payback. This time, it's for real.
Geico, real service, real savings.
Isn't that great?
That is fantastic.
I love that spot.
Okay, as long as we're looking at stuff that'll bring a smile to your face, will you bring up, it was just on that list. Can you go back to that list? There was a link and it was on there. It was at the bottom. As soon as the video that Scott just put up ended, there was a link to it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, there was a link to something that I just saw it and I wanted you guys to see it. And it is Elliot's audition for E.T. So you can actually just go to YouTube. And the reason I want to share this, guys, is I think it is the strongest audition from a child you will ever see. And this is what transformed his life. And Steven Spielberg was in the room and Steven said to his face, the end of the reel, he says, "Okay, kid, you got the job."
You want me to play it?
And he told him to his face.
You want to see it?
Yeah, if you can, because it's going to melt everybody's heart.
You have to share again.
I will. Let's see. Pull it up. Share audio.
Yeah, just put Elliot's.
Share
audition.
full screen. There you
That's it. Did you see it linked there?
Your door, a man comes in, a grown man, not your brother.
So this is Spielberg explaining to him what he's going to do.
National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And he has found out that you have a creature. He doesn't know exactly what he has found out you have a creature in your closet. A creature that he's been looking for a long time. And you've had this creature now for 3 or 4 weeks. You become best friends with it. And he wants to take the creature away. And he's come with a search warrant. And he's come with permission to take the creature away. And you're not going to let him. Okay?
Now, young man, I understand that you have an alien somewhere in this house. Is that true? Well, is it true? Is there an alien in this house?
Yes, sir.
Well, as you know, I am from the government. I'm part of the United States government, and I am empowered to take that alien with me.
But you can't take him away. He's mine.
Well, but the government is bigger than you are, Elliot, and I have all the authority to take him, and I got to tell you, I'm going to take him.
Watch this, guys. He's incredible.
Well, I'm afraid I have to, son.
Can't take him away. He's mine.
But it's not my choice. The president asked me to come here and get him.
I don't care what the president says. He's my best friend. And you can't take him away.
Well, it's real possible, Elliot, that he'll come back and you can have him again. But we just want to talk to him and see where it came from and try to find out about other planets. And he probably is the key to a lot of things that we have to know.
But how do I know you're going to bring him back?
Well, I'm afraid, son, I can't guarantee it.
I think he's afraid of you.
That may be true, but the government tells me what to do, and I just follow their orders.
Well, he's mine, and he lives with me, and he likes me. And he wants to stay here. He likes it here.
Well, we wouldn't hurt him or anything. All we want to do is talk to him.
But I don't want you to take him away.
You know, I've had to talk to your mom about it, and she knows that the government has the right to do it.
And who told you all this?
Well, we learned about it. We know that he's somewhere around here. I mean, I do have a search warrant. I could look around the house.
Tell me to keep the eye. Right. Tell me to keep.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you let me talk to him for 5 minutes, I'll tell my boss that you can keep him. Would that be okay with you? If I could just talk to him for 5 minutes? Would you feel better then? Would you be happy if you could keep me? If all I had to do was talk to him for 5 minutes. That might make your whole day, huh? Might make your whole life, huh? And then he'd be your friend forever. And I wouldn't take him away. Okay,
Okay, kid, you got the job.
Wow.
Now, how life-changing is that when Steven Spielberg is in the room and he says, okay, kid, you got the job. And I think it's so abundantly clear. That is the greatest, and I've seen so many audition reels in my life. That is the strongest audition for a role I have ever seen, and that is actor Henry Thomas playing 10-year-old Elliot, and he blew Steven Spielberg away. Did you see those tears falling?
Break your heart. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So for those of you who don't know it, you can go on YouTube and put auditions for, and then name some big movies, and you'll actually see the reel that was the deciding, factor in who was selected for the role. And there's some real kingpins, man. Watching some of Steve Carell's stuff when he auditioned, when you see him for Anchorman, oh my God, that's just the funniest thing in the world. And 40-Year-Old Virgin. Those auditions, because he had to put them on tape, he had to be screen tested for the roles.
Yeah.
They are phenomenally entertaining, and then you understand they truly were a cut above the other reels that they saw, and I have been blessed to work with Henry. So maybe I did a Western with him called The Legend of Hell's Gate, and it was terrific. And I will now, based on this, I will make it my point to go in search of Henry Thomas as one of our guests.
Oh,
the show.
So incredible. Glenn, I was going to mention too, I gained such a respect. I stumbled across, how you kind of go down a rabbit hole on YouTube. And I stumbled across a video that just made me have such respect and think about casting directors. We were talking about that a few weeks ago.
Sure.
And it is the old, what would have been late 50s auditions for Perry Mason. And so you see Raymond Burr auditioning as Perry Mason,
Sure.
and William Hopper, who played Paul Drake, as Paul Drake. Then there's another, then it goes to William Hopper being Perry Mason and Raymond Burr being Paul Drake. And then there's
wow.
another scene where Raymond Burr is Hamilton Berger, the prosecutor, and then they try both of those people as Perry Mason. And you know, you look at
So
it,
this is back when they were trying to make a decision of how to slot those actors in place.
it's kind of like they knew they wanted these guys, but then and there's just somebody else that I'd never heard of that, you know, is in the mix as well. But it's just amazing because as a fan of that old show, you just can't imagine anybody being Perry Mason but Raymond Burr. You just can't.
Right, because that's the download you received. And what's interesting is, had he wound up as one of the other roles, you wouldn't have been able to see him as any other role than that.
Probably
Right.
so. Yeah, absolutely.
I love what Nate asks. That's a great question.
Well, and I saw it and I was going to address it. I wanted Scott to be able to finish. The answer to that, Nate, I can tell you very clearly in no uncertain terms. Here is where that comes from. He has nothing in the way. There's your answer. As adults, we acquire so much garbage that is in the way of us being in oneness with the purity of our emotions. Children don't have that crap.
Yeah.
They don't have anything that they've got to get rid of. In fact, I've talked with endless directors and casting directors who say that it is their job. April Webster was telling me this recently. It is their job to stay out of a child's way. That the minute you start directing a child, you can tell them what's going on, but you really don't want to get in their way because they are naturally linked into feeling. And the inhibitions and the walls that go up, those are things that adults acquire over time. So it's actually easier for most of those children to gain access to those feelings. Why? Because they are right there.
Wow.
Well, what do you guys think, man?
I think we'll go ahead and call it a night. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the movie with them. But we love you guys, all of you, and thank you for being part of our Sunday evenings with us every week. And where would you guys like me to broadcast from next week? Istanbul, Paris? Where shall I go?
Now we go to our roving reporter, Glenn Morshower in the field.
In a world known as Ohio. Maybe I'll be in downtown Columbus next Sunday night.
That would be great. That would be great.
So, Ken, I will call you for a tutorial this week on the green screen.
Is there a world where both of you are in Columbus, Ohio?
Do me a favor. Right now, just say this for me, if you wouldn't mind. Indulge me, because I am going to show it to the director tonight. Minus the setup, I just want to show him this part. Write this down if you want to remember it. But just say this, Scott, if you can.
Yeah.
In a world where David Bush directs 3 feature films, one right after the other, or you can say one each on the heels of one another, with not break one. I mean, just make up some stuff about how he's just he's a super machine. He needs no rest. It's one after the other. Can you do that regarding 3 films in a row? Oh, it's going to be good.
In a world where David Bush directs 3 consecutive films, each on their heels, without a break. He's not directing Iron Man 5. He is Iron Man 5. David Bush, the Iron Man director.
And add this, at a theater near you soon.
At a theater near you soon. And
There
how
it
do I
is.
know where you live?
I'm going to show this to him tonight.
I've always wondered, at a theater near you, how the hell do they know where I live?
How do they know I live anywhere near a theater?
I don't know. Maybe I don't have a theater near me.
All right, take us out, Scotty.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much. It's always great being with you. It's great being with our pals. It is great being with all of you that watch. We think the world of you taking time to be here. We'll see you next Sunday night on the Ken and Glenn Show with a guy named Scott. See you then.
See you guys.
Night, everybody.